Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, it looks like it's going to be another good day. The buying continues. Bitcoin's price is surging. And that gold-like rally that we've been talking about may be ahead. So, let's talk about what's going on with the markets, what's going on with Bitcoin specifically, what's driving the surge, and what more can we expect? All right, let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are starting out day 89.7, which is $2,000 higher than this point yesterday. We are closing in at $90,000. This is a big jump from the weekend. It's only been a couple of days. And like I said, once we get in the 90s, we're not that far off. We're really not. And there's one person that agrees with me and believes that we may be seeing that high of 109, 110 very, very soon, because gold's been rallying. Gold is at a new high, and there's no reason why Bitcoin shouldn't be at an all-time high right now. And I'm going to play a clip for you guys soon. All right. So today, the U.S. market is doing well. Yesterday, the U.S. market did horrible. And Bitcoin thrived. Bitcoin decoupled completely yesterday. We know that. Today, the market is recovering, it's bouncing, but Bitcoin is still doing well. So this is the best case scenario. When the US market does bad, Bitcoin goes up. When it does good, it goes up, right? That's what we want, to have that kind of decoupling. And look at this. I don't think a lot of us realize this. The Dow Jones is on track for the worst April since the Great Depression. Think about all the recession times that we've had. I didn't even know this. I didn't think April was that bad. We're on track for the worst April since the Great Depression, what, from 1929? That's how bad this month was. But think about it for Bitcoin. Yeah, we were in the 80s. Maybe we dipped down to the 70s a couple times, but that shows you how strong it was still and how many people still held on. That's amazing. And look at, we're not over. April's not over. And if we end up back in the 90s, and maybe even higher, well, that's even better, right? But that's staggering to know that this month has been that bad, right? Anyways, so moving forward, we know that gold has been on a tear, right? Topping out $3,500 an ounce. And this is because confidence in the dollar has been shaken, right? Because of fears of inflation, right? The tremendous inflation, fears about all the tariffs, fears about just things not being resolved quickly, fears of recession, fears of a lot of things. That's why people are actually selling dollars and putting them into other assets like gold. Okay, but guess what? They're not just putting it into gold anymore, apparently. Something's changed. Starting from Sunday, it seems like a lot of the Asian nations started putting money into Bitcoin as well, because that's when Bitcoin quickly jumped from 84,000 and then to 87,000, now to 89,000. So we've been coming up really quickly decoupling from stocks. and we're making that tremendous rise upwards, it seems like, yes, a lot of people or nations or funds, they are now putting their money into Bitcoin, seeing it as a safe haven as well. So that's tremendous. That's tremendous. And even not just Asian nations, but I mean, even look at Wall Street. Yesterday, we had a tremendous $381 million inflow. We haven't seen this since January. For 3 months, we haven't had a massive inflow like this. So I've been telling you guys, we just need a little push. There's a tremendous amount of money on the sidelines waiting to come back. They want to FOMO in. They just want to see others do it first. They want to see that movement upwards first, and then they're ready to come in. They just don't want to be the first movers, right? Once we're back in the 90s, remember we were hovering in the mid 90s for a while before we came back down. You know, once we get in the mid 90s and we start creeping upwards, these ETF numbers are going to be quite large again. All those that sold off are going to start questioning whether or not they should buy back in, because they're going to start feeling that FOMO, right? And even though gold has been doing very well, 3,500, right, is good, but we all know that nothing outperforms Bitcoin. When Bitcoin starts moving, nothing outperforms Bitcoin. So I think people know that now. Wall Street knows that. The traders know that. The big institutions know that. That's why they're in it now, because if you look at the performance over any extended period of time, there is nothing that outperforms Bitcoin. Okay, now the analyst I was talking about, any extended period of time, Tom Lee, nothing that outperforms Bitcoin. Okay, now the analyst I was talking about, to say, extended let's take a listen. This is his perspective of what has happened before and what's going to happen now.
Near term, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, this year maybe, we have seen gold leave Bitcoin in the dust and go to new highs. Looks like it'll do 4,000 easily, right? Do you think Bitcoin eventually catches some of the same money, the same bid?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin earlier this year may have been struggling with some of the deleveraging that was happening for institutional investors.
Just selling what they could.
Yeah, selling what they could, and I think that suppressed Bitcoin, especially over weekends. But now that deleveraging is done, I think that Bitcoin is going to catch up to gold, and Bitcoin's old high was over 110,000. So I think there is a lot of room to catch up as a sort of non-dollar asset.
As for the equity markets, you think stocks are attractive, but uncertainty is still the name of the game, and it's going to persist. You think the high in the VIX, what did you say that was on April 7th, that holds?
Yeah, I think it's going to be hard to match that level of fear again. So I think we're probably past peak uncertainty. I mean, even with this Fed controversy, but I don't know if we're past maximum pain. I think that there's still risk that the economic consequences are going to cause markets to be hesitant, but it's going to be hard to match that fear again. So I think a structural low did take place.
So you heard it from Tom Lee, okay? That deleveraging, that's what suppressed Bitcoin. That's what caused it to go down. And I mean, that was pretty obvious, right? I showed you guys. Wall Street was selling off. All those funds are selling off. We had massive amount of outflow from the ETFs. Okay, it was pretty obvious that they were treating Bitcoin or some were treating Bitcoin as a risk-on asset. They were scared of what's going to happen with all the tariffs and stuff, right? But those guys are gone. The ones that wanted to sell sold. And now you're left with the ones that are just holding and the ones that want to accumulate. And the long-term holders never left in the first place. And you still have people that are buying and buying and buying. So now, eventually, you're going to find a bottom and you go reverse. It's that simple, right? But now you have a catalyst. You have the dollar crashing. So now you have an incentive for people to buy Bitcoin. Not just hold it, but to buy. So going back to 100, he said above 110. I think we topped out 109. Going back to all-time high, 109,000. Yeah, why not? Gold is at all-time high. Bitcoin should be at all-time high. If it's a store of value and a hedge against inflation, which we know is going to come, yes. And we should be heading higher. I got something else to show you guys that indicates that Bitcoin should be going a lot higher than that. Even if you discount all of this, there is something that shows that Bitcoin should be going a lot higher than 110. And that's this. I showed you guys this before. That's the Bitcoin chart versus the global liquidity, the M2 money supply. And there's a 12-week delay, which is approximately 3 months. And that's approximately like right now. The global money supply has been going up. And Bitcoin and that global liquidity supply tracks almost 1-to-1. Again, there's that 3-month delay. And I've shown this chart before. And look at it. The global money supply has been going up, but Bitcoin's price has not yet. So even if you discount everything else that you know I just said or Tom Lee said or anything else, if you just follow this chart based on history, we're at that time where we should be flipping upwards. We should go right back up to the previous high, and we should start shattering it and going a lot higher just based on this, because the amount of money around the world has increased dramatically already. And whenever that happens, Bitcoin's price goes higher. That's how it works. All right, so it all aligns. It all aligns. And all this Fed controversy, you know, that may align even more. If Powell caves, you know, maybe this gets to him. And he's like, man, I had enough. I don't want to stand on my ethical high grounds. I'm just going to cut the Fed fund rate in May instead of June. Man, that's going to open up the floodgates. Money will be pouring in, and that's going to be even more tremendous. But, I mean, if you're just looking at all this, it's looking good. It's looking good. And we are above 90,000. But that's just the beginning. We've been at 90,000 before. We shouldn't be excited about 90,000. We were 90,000. Next up is 100,000, 110,000. We should be excited about what's after 110,000. According to this, our journey to 180,000 has begun. So we have hit the bottom of this trend line. According to this, we always go down roughly, 30% from the previous peak, and then we go up. Right? But if you look at everything else, you put all the data together, the global liquidity going up, right? The funds have stopped their selling, they have commenced buying, and the dollar basically crashing, and everything else that's happening. It looks like it's all aligning. It's looking good. It's looking good. That's for sure. Yeah, and this is just a reminder. And I've shown you guys many times. Many times. You know, even though we do like headlines like MicroStrategy buys $500 million of the Bitcoin, BlackRock buys $300 million of the Bitcoin, right? We like these headlines. But they're considered like new whales. And there are more new whales coming in every single day. And they are eating up a tremendous amount of the supply. You could see within the last year, they went from like, I don't know, 2%, 3% of the supply to now a third, almost a quarter to a third of the supply. So this is why I've been stressing to you guys, you got to buy what you can while you can. This cycle is probably going to be the last cycle where you can buy a reasonable amount of Bitcoin at a reasonable price. Bitcoin is like prime real estate. Once it's gone at a reasonable price, it's gone forever, right? It's like, I don't know. It's like when New York City or Tokyo or anywhere else or Paris, when they were dirt cheap, when they were starting to be developed versus now. You'll never go back to those kind of prices. Bitcoin is the same way. We'll never be able to buy Bitcoin at $10 again, or even $1,000, or even at $10,000. In the future, we won't even be able to buy it at $100,000 because it's scarce and there's more and more people coming in. So it's very apparent now. This is the year. Actually, last year started, but last year was the year that started. This year, it's very apparent that we have more new whales than ever before that's acquiring a lot more than before, and that is not going to stop. So the way to take advantage of it, can't really stop it. The way to take advantage of it is to just grab as much as you can right now and ride the wave. Ride a wave to financial freedom or life-changing wealth. That's the only thing you could do. Speaking of new whale, Metaplanet is a new whale. They got Eric Trump as a board advisor, and they're just getting started. They have $500 million worth of Bitcoin now. They just started like a year ago. And now they have $500 million worth of Bitcoin. Think about that. I would like to have $500 million of Bitcoin. But unfortunately I don't. But I mean, just goes to show you, like, these guys are buying like crazy. There's not that much to go around. Some of us don't realize that. We think we could always buy Bitcoin forever. Yeah, we probably could, but the price is not going to be at the same level forever. We got these miners that are expanding, and they're buying too. And we still have a lot of big firms like Charles Schwab that says they're going to launch spot trading within the next 12 months. Think about it. This is going to be huge too. Schwab is the biggest brokerage firm in the United States. There are millions upon millions upon millions of people that use this. You know, all the D-Gens and all the millennials and Gen X and whatever's after Gen X, they're all trading on Robinhood. But everyone else and above, they're all on Schwab, you know, and now they can buy directly on Schwab. That's going to be huge. This is going to bring a lot more people into the space. And Schwab, I think they're trying to launch their own ETFs as well, Bitcoin ETFs. The landscape is changing for the better. You gotta hop on. You gotta jump on the bandwagon if you haven't yet, because you're going to miss out. Circle and Coinbase, they're trying to become banks. That's the next evolution. Soon, you'll be able to walk into a Coinbase bank and do your banking there. You'll pay your mortgages and your credit cards and your car loans with your crypto directly from your Coinbase account. That's coming up next. That's what they're trying to do. And that's okay if you become a Bitcoin and crypto millionaire, right? Why not? Why not? But that's what they're trying to do. That's going to be the next evolution. And same thing, Deutsche Bank and Standard Chartered from Europe, they're entering the US market too. They're banks already, but they want a piece. They're coming in. They're doing the same thing. That's why Coinbase and Circle, they're in a mad rush to compete. So now we have more and more avenues, more ways to get people involved as well. So again, read the room. It's going to be quite tremendous for crypto this year. The landscape is changing for the better, and you better hop on for the ride. All right, we're at 90,300, looking pretty darn good. Look at that. Look at that headline. Breaking news. Bitcoin retakes 90,000 as investors see it as alternative to diving dollar and turbulent stocks. See, CNBC even listens to this stream. I don't know if they do, but you know, that it makes sense. It makes sense. They should. All right, let's do some Q&A. Man, almost 5,000 people in here. We haven't had those kind of numbers for a while. People are excited once again. Debo, I appreciate that. Debo says, you speak more true than CNBC, that's for sure. You know, I know it's early. It's only 2 days, right? We have only really rallied for 2 days. So I know it's early. I don't want to like over exaggerate, but I have said before, there's so much money on the sidelines waiting to FOMO. And when we do get that FOMO, Bitcoin can rally to 100,000 in days, right? It can happen. It's not like we're that far off. It's not like we fell down 50% to 50,000, right? Now that we're in the 90s, we get back to 100,000, just a 10% move. You know, we're right there. So once the FOMO train kicks in, we're going to start moving really quickly. Right now, I've always said we need that catalyst, right? I thought that catalyst would be the quantitative easing, the Fed cut that's coming in May or June. But it seems like we're getting another catalyst ahead of time, the crashing dollar. That's helping us right now. That's helping us a lot. But I don't think people realize how big this is. This is actually proving, if this is the case, this is proving for the first time in history that Bitcoin is seen as a true hedge against inflation ever, first time. Because before we would talk about it. We talk about Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation and store value. We argue store value because, of course, the price, goes upwards. But hedge against inflation, we argue that because the price goes up. But do we ever see people put money in there when there's like recession times and stuff like that? Not really. It tends to move more like tech stocks. But if we do see it decouple where tech stocks and US markets and overall crashing and Bitcoin is going up like yesterday, and we actually see people put money into it when there's fear in the markets, man, then we're finally there. Then Bitcoin has finally matured to a point where people recognize it as a digital gold. And that would be an amazing, amazing feat. I don't know if we're quite there yet, but we'll see. Faiz. U.S. says India has finalized a tariff deal. U.S. says a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's true. I saw one where Japan said they're not going to cave. So I don't know what's true and what's not anymore. IMF slashes 2025 U.S. growth forecast to 1.8 from 2.7, citing trade tensions. I'm no fan of IMF, so I don't really care what they say. Here. India's Modi and U.S. President Vance optimistic on New Delhi-Washington trade deal. I guess that's what you're talking about. That doesn't mean they actually have a deal. They're just working on one. ETH is going to explode this weekend. I don't know about that. ETH could probably climb up a little bit. I think this is a very telling chart. Okay. Again, if you discount everything else out there, and if you're just following just this, you would be putting your money back in, right? Because, I mean, short term, yes, you still see little dips here and there on this. I mean, if you zoom in, you'll still see like little volatility in there. But on the grander scale, when you zoom out, man, this is the time when we're in recovery mode. We're about to rally hard back to our previous high and forward. Just FYI, there's a 12-week delay. There's a 12-week delay between Bitcoin's movement and the global M2 money supply. Did I have a nice Easter? Yeah, I did. I didn't do anything. I did not do anything. I'm trying to grow my Etsy store. It's been slow. Etsy's like just not like eBay. There's just not that many customers on there. And Hunter's asking, any update on future gold price? Should I sell or hold? Gold has been doing well. I can't talk bad about it, but I can tell you this: nothing outperforms Bitcoin. Nothing. So, I personally don't hold any gold. There are crypto gold like projects now. I don't touch those. I'd much rather hold Bitcoin than gold. But I could see how a lot of people do like gold and trust gold and want to hold some gold, and it has done well for them. But man, I'd much rather hold Bitcoin. Still looking good. On the 15-minute chart, Bitcoin is pretty overbought. But look at that volume right there. On the 1 minute, the 1 hour, pretty overbought. On the 4 hour, it's okay. A little overbought. Shorter time frames, overbought. But that's because things are rallying. XRP is up slightly today. XRP hasn't moved that much recently. Sol having a good day, up about 5%. Sui up pretty good, up almost 8% today. ADA, 4%. Hedera, Link, AVAX, Sui, they're all up about 4% today. Pretty good. Robinhood's up about 6%. Coinbase up 7%. And MicroStrategy up about 7%. Today is just a good day all around for crypto. Crypto Babble. George, I'm curious, how do you prepare for a daily show? Do you have a team preparing headlines for you, or how do you go about it? I just have one person that helps me prepare some of these articles. And then I digest it, put it all together. I do most things myself. And then I scan X and add in a few more things, come up with a title, thumbnail, and all that stuff. I'm very lean in terms of operations. You know, ChatGPT. I've been experimenting with ChatGPT recently. ChatGPT can really like do a lot. It could really replace a lot of people. It still makes a lot of mistakes. It's not perfect, but I think people underestimate how much they could get done with ChatGPT. Especially if they're like in the workforce or they run their own business. Like ChatGPT is really good at a lot of things. So just throwing that out there. People underutilize it. It's amazingly good. No, Grok is not better. Grok is better and more convenient at digesting anything on X. It's really easy. When someone tweets something, there's a breaking news, you could use Grok to check it. But if you want it to do a task or to like do something for you or scan something for you or do something that requires more, I don't know, more task related, I guess, ChatGPT blows it out of the water. It's way better. But I'm on the paid version, so I mean, maybe if you guys are looking at, well, Grok is not free either, so I guess it just depends. If you're comparing like the free ChatGPT, which I still think is good, but it's just like more limited. I guess it just depends. Anyways, it doesn't matter as long as you're using some kind of AI. I think there are a lot of people that still like does not touch it, does not use it. You got to incorporate it. If you're in the workforce or you run your own business, you got to figure out how to use it. There's a reason why every company is like getting involved and why AI industry is booming and stuff. If you don't learn how to adapt it, you will be left behind. For sure. It's 100% guaranteed. Like this one on X, right? So this is really good. Like Grok, for example, Grok is really good at digesting this. And then you could say, well, explain the M2 money supply. Just like, it's like there's no reason why you should not know like anything now. Like before you would read something, you're like, oh, I don't know what the M2 money supply is. I don't know what that is. I don't understand what that is. Like now that you have AI, there's like no reason why you can't understand anything. Like even for example, like this. I mean, even though it breaks this down like this, and you're like, well, that's too complicated. Explain that to me as if I'm a 10-year-old. Unless Grok can't do it. I know ChatGPT could. See, it can. It makes an analogy with candy. Why does M2 matter for Bitcoin? It's like a super rare shining toy that only 21 million will ever exist. When the grown-ups at a bank make more candy, which is aka money, and add it to the M2 bucket, there's a lot more candy for everyone else to spend. Some kids and grown-ups decide to use that extra candy to buy shiny toys like Bitcoin because they think it's special and might be worth more later. So when the M2 bucket gets bigger, Bitcoin's price often goes up because more people are buying it with their extra candy, aka money. That's the easiest explanation ever in history. That's why Bitcoin's price goes up when the M2 money supply goes up. You know, so again, you could use AI for anything. I missed some super chats there. Babel says, I have a Arabic crypto channel. I agree, ChatGPT is fantastic, but yeah, it makes mistakes sometimes, but summarizing and highlighting is just wild. But I can't do daily like you do too much. You can. I mean, yeah, not everyone could do it. I mean, besides just getting all the headline news and all that, you have to know how to digest it, put it into order, and have a flow of things, which I have mastered now because I've done it for so long. So you could give me like 20 articles, I can look at it and then place it in order, and then while I'm going through, I can make it flow well, right? At least I think I do. And I think most people do agree. Like whatever I went through today, if you watch it, it seems like I prepared for a long time. I really didn't, but it's just because I have developed that skill where I can make it flow. If you do it long enough, I think you could too, but most people have not done it long enough. Lazaro, got into Fartcoin, 25 cents to today 109, got out, best performance coin in the last 3 months. What a ride. You don't need to share that, okay? I don't need to hear about that shitty meme coin, to be honest, Lazaro. I don't want to ever hear about Fartcoin ever again. And if anyone super chats it, I'm just going to ignore it. You know, ChatGPT could also make predictions on like price movements, and it can help you make a bot, a trading bot. It could do everything. It's really amazing. And Bitcoin just keeps on going up. It's not going to stop, even though it's so overbought in the shorter time frames. I mean, it's extremely overbought, but it does not matter. Everyone's just FOMOing right now. I'm purposely not sharing my Etsy page because I don't want like mass amount of people to go and buy things. I'm trying to build it organically. Yeah, I also don't want like trolls to go over there and like leave negative comments and stuff like that too. Man, this is not stopping. All right. I guess that's a wrap. Where's that? Oh, I missed. I gotta go back. All right, guys. So that gold-like rally ahead, it looks like we're in that mode right now. We're on day two of this mini rally, but we're catching up. We're catching up very quickly. Tom Lee says the deleveraging from the institutions are done. We're heading back to our all-time high. If you look at this, we're definitely going back to all-time high, and we're not going to stop there. We're going to continue forward. So, stay strong, my friends. Grab some while you can, before all the whales take everything. Okay? Grab some while you can. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys later. If things get really exciting, then I may stream tonight. We'll see. 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Otherwise, I'll still put out a very good video for you guys. All right. Have a good one. And I do have an important message to share with you guys. So take a look.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.